exciting as Xiaohu locks in the Lee Sin.
Yeah, and Xiaohu looked like spectacular on that pick in MSI. Hard carried some of the games we saw him on. But there's a couple of champions that still stand out to me. Nocturne being one, Rumble also one of those high presence champions that we've seen, especially when you look at the Renekton, the set already taken off the board. And if we're looking at AD carry picks, Varus still up and available. I'm curious to see if Gala decides to lock that one in now.
That'll be one of the questions. The Nocturne, though, has been one of these champions that's been more banned than picked. And it feels like this last week, we've started to see Nocturne coming back into the meta. And I mean, I guess he never left the meta. We just never really got to see it because he was banned so much. But it's just going to be answered with that Udyr that we see so often. Then Ming locks into Thresh without an AD carry. Interesting choice there.
Yeah, it does open up a hell of a lot of picks, though. I mean, you can obviously go towards Varus still if you want to, but certainly Jinx, Aphelios, these kind of picks that kind of rely on having that safety could work out super well here. So I'm curious what they decide to go with. The Kaisa going to be taken away by Abel on that opposite side, though. So I think certainly something like a Jinx could work super well here if they wanted to. Just having that range advantage in the laning phase and being able to keep her relatively safe in the late game could work out pretty well with that Thresh.
Certainly could. Abel takes away the Kaisa as well. So we asked to see Gala on something else. We asked to see him tested and to show the rest of his champ pool. Well, with Kaisa off the board, he's gonna have to. Varus has been banned. You mentioned that Varus pick. It will be taken off, as is the Nautilus taken away from Cold. And we'll see what the next ban is. Could be something like the Jinx, which, you know, Thresh Jinx is exceptionally strong. Thresh at Aphelios as well. It does feel like there are enough AD carries that it doesn't really matter which one's banned here by OMG. There's going to be options for RNG.
It's also really interesting because when you look at the Kaisa and X situation, so it tends to be like Kaisa Nautilus because you've got that depth charge that sets her up super well. Kaisa Leona that sets her up super well. They've actually got some of the lowest win rates in the LPL right now, especially for like AD carry and supports. Nautilus and the Kaisa both sitting between like 32 to 35%. It seems to me that like this combo isn't quite working out as well when we're seeing the amount of these short range bruisers that can really cause a lot of issues for the Kaisa. Even when you're looking at things like the Lee Sin that can cause her a lot of issues too. I think Kaisa, although we're still seeing that super high priority, I don't think she's as strong as people are making her out to be because of all these like super short range, heavy, high damage dealers that she was really struggling against.
Yeah, I will say as well, the melee supports obviously can't use Hex Flash right now, so that is going to hurt them a lot. I'm kind of surprised at the prevalence we're still seeing of things like this Nautilus, like this Leona, without Hex Flash. It does feel like that's a huge part of their kit in modern League of Legends. So we'll see. Cold is going to lock in the Leona for himself. It is going to be the Jinx we talked about. Then the final lock-in for Cryin is going to be a Galio, going for that supportive middle.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've already got a hell of a lot of your damage locked up in Gala in this bottom side of the map. You got a hell of a lot of peel coming through from the Thresh, now the Galio, even the Dragon Kick coming through from the Lee Sin. So this is definitely a, okay, cool, we've realized, OMG, you've already opted in towards this super short range composition with the Nocturne, Rumble, and Kaisa. Let's just make sure we can buy space whenever we get that Nocturne note coming in, and also having someone that can deal with Nocturne in the side lane. So I really like the draft coming through from RNG. For OMG, they doubled down now on these short-range assassins coming through with the Qiyana. This is something Creme has played a heap of in the LDL. It was a bit of a pocket pick for him, so I'm really excited to see what he can do, especially after we've seen his performances on things like the Akali against Invictus Gaming.
Honestly, Dagda, I'm so excited to see a Qiyana. First off, it's one of those champs that you can kind of, I mean, we all heard the Chaz interview at MSI, right, where he was talking about Qiyana, how it works. You can kind of forego a lot of farm in the early game, try and go for an all-in at level 3. Galio is designed as a champion that kind of ruins AP champions, right? Has the magic shield and all of that good stuff. Not so good against the lethality, not so good against the assassins. So we'll see what Creme can bring to the table, but as you rightly say, this is a comfort pick for Creme. This is a pick where he can really flex for himself. So I cannot wait to see what he's got up his sleeve. 66% win rate over 3 games in his career. But we'll see if he can keep that rolling. Dagda, I'm excited. This is going to be a good first game back for RNG. Their first game back, they don't get the Kaisa, and they have to go up against Creme's Qiyana. What a way to return to the LPL.
I think as well, like, it's a bit of a way for Creme to strut his stuff as well, right? You're going up against the MSI champions. He's on comfort, and especially when you're looking towards a Jinx in the backline, Creme is going to be trying to see if he can land these big supreme display of talents, knock out the Jinx, set up for a Nocturne, hell, even set up for Abel as well. Like, there's a hell of a lot on Creme to perform here and trying to assassinate this Jinx. So I'm excited to see, one, what we're going to get out of RNG here, fresh off the back of MSI, and two, if OMG can really push them to their limit.
There's many questions I have to ask during this series, Dagda, and I'm hoping we'll get some good answers. But the first one, the one that was most on my lips leading into this series is, what do we get to see from Gala? The back-to-back MVP from finals and then from MSI as well. Now he's bringing out the Jinx. He has a Thresh alongside him. He's got a Galio in the composition. It feels like RNG, after an entire split of playing through Xiaohu, they changed their strategy to play through Gala in the playoffs of LPL. They stuck to that in MSI, and it feels like that is still their go-to.
And look, I kind of dig it, right? I think Xiaohu has been working wonders, but definitely when picks like the Lee Sin and these kind of things are meta, it's much harder to play the style that he's been playing previously with things like the Lucian. So instead, they're just going to go, okay, cool, let's just play towards what the meta wants, and if we can get the super strong AD carry and Jinx, let's just go towards that style.
Yeah, really interesting start here as Aki gets his blue buff, but Wei has invaded on the top side, going for the red buff. And we're going to see the map split here as Aki walked across a ward, but he should be safe in the knowledge, like he knows Wei invaded. They walked over a ward to go in for that late invade. So this should just be a trade of red buffs and raptors by the looks of things.
The thing here, though, is that RNG... Yeah, RNG want to play around bot side, though. They want to be playing towards this Jinx. This is the whole win condition we've set up for RNG. So you can see Wei is like, all right, cool. We'll trade one buff. We'll trade a bit of Raptors. But I need to be on this bottom side. I cannot have this map split and not allow Gala and Ming to, one, punish the short range that Abel has, and two, just leave my win condition out to dry.
Really importantly, though, I think Wei left up a small Raptor there, which is kind of going to ruin Aki a little bit. Yeah, look at that. One Raptor left on the Raptor camp. He took the red buff. Aki only got the Raptors and didn't get the red buff. So Wei ultimately wins out in that as a bit of a trade in the mid lane from Creme. Doing some good damage there, but all things considered, Wei, pretty 5-head start on the Udyr.
Yeah, it's not resetting that camp means that it's going to take obviously a long time for it to hit the higher levels because you're not actually going to be setting that up. So Aki now going to be a bit peeved that as he gets over towards his Raptors, he's only got the single one left. So he'll definitely be a little bit behind when it comes towards the XP that he's going to have available to hit those higher levels. But Ray might actually get a little bit of attention up towards this top side now because I'm curious to see what Wei's jungle path is here. Although with Xiaohu being pushed in on top side, they don't really want to try and contest this top scuttle. Although, actually, Aki moving down here towards this bottom side, so maybe Wei gets both scuttles as well.
It does get smited by Wei in the end. I wasn't sure if Aki was going to be able to get a cheeky smite off. Creme is right now. Cryin has already TP'd back. Nu has moved down, though. Xiaohu's still up in that top side, so maybe an opportunity for OMG. But again, Creme with no mana, basically as a large minion. So I'm not sure, even with Nu roaming, yeah, this is going to be double skull for RNG. It feels like everything in terms of the jungle is going RNG's way.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a big win for Wei. A lot of that coming from Cryin just having more control in that mid lane, being able to work Creme's health bar down to about half, and with Xiaohu buying time to actually push out the top wave, he can come to contest as well, so OMG have to give it up. So nice start coming through for Wei, and when you're just kind of leaving the lanes in this kind of situation by themselves right now, you can see a nice little lead picked up for Xiaohu in that top lane, and bot lane going well for Gala as well.
Yeah, so far so good for RNG as they managed to do a great job of just controlling the map in the early stages of the game. We've got a bit of a replay. I guess we had a bit of an all-in on the bottom side while things are going on up top, and it was a cleanse from Abel. Nice little cleanse there, but unfortunately, you have to get hooked to use the cleanse well. So, you know, while the cleanse was you know, well executed, at the end of the day, he still got hooked first.
Yeah, I think dodging is just better than using a summoner spell, at least from a cooldown perspective, you know. You can definitely right-click to the side a little bit faster than you can use that summoner spell again, but still, I mean, we know that Ming and Gala have been a pretty formidable bot lane. Ming, an absolute monster when it comes towards his laning phase. Now, usually, we see Ming actually moving around the map a hell of a lot more, but specifically when you have something like a Jinx, Thresh is going to be tied to that bottom side of the map. So you're not going to have Ming on his usual roamabouts. You'll more than likely see Wei, especially as he's coming off the back here, trying to see if he can pick up these early dragons, use the fact that Gala has the push in that lane, and seeing if they can start to swing these objectives in their favor.
That'd be the question. And, you know, looking at RNG's composition, I feel like it's relatively self-explanatory, right? We already talked about how Gala's going to be pretty much the premier carry with a lot of peel from the Thresh and the Galio and the Udyr there to set things up. And then you got Xiaohu's Lee Sin, who... Xiaohu Lee Sin, he's just going to do crazy things. I'm not even going to try and predict what he's going to do. I'm just going to watch that with glee. As Wei is looking for a chance onto Abel. Remember, Cleanse not available right now as Ming moves forward. The blind hook isn't going to hit. Abel gets out. Let's talk about OMG's composition, though, here, Dagda, because it feels like this one's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, it's essentially a dive, right? You have Creme, New going in aggressively, Aki trying to layer down the equalizer on top of it. And this is a composition that can do a hell of a lot off of a single item spike. Between the Night Harvester, you get your Stride Breaker coming through for New, the Prowler Claw, I'm assuming coming in for Creme, although you could go Duskblade as well. But either way, it's all about trying to dive on towards Gala and assassinate this Jinx as quickly as possible. Now, there's a lot of tools for RNG to try and keep that from happening, but still, like, there's a hell of a lot you've got to deal with here coming in from OMG side. So certainly RNG will have their work cut out in trying to stop OMG from running away in the mid game and just being able to burst out Gala and buying time for Gala to ramp up in these fights, get excited, and try and win out in the longer team fights.
So it feels like the length of the team fight is going to be crucial in a lot of these battles where OMG, they want a fast fight, RNG want to drag things out. We'll see how that's going to pan out. But so far, relatively quiet game, and it does feel like I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into this one, but every time I see lethality, I kind of assume that the scaling favors the other team. We've got a Jinx on the side of RNG scaling-wise. I'm feeling like RNG are the favorite.
Yeah, definitely when scaling late game, I mean, that Jinx is going to be an absolute monster. Yes, you've got enough damage that can come through from Abel and that, but the amount of teamfight potential that this Jinx is going to hold, OMG just can't really stand towards. But a lot of it will still come down to execution, because, hell, if you have a full item Jinx and she's got even an elixir on top of it, if she just dies straight off the bat, it doesn't even matter.
So, doesn't Drake going to be started up here by OMG? And it looks like RNG are quite happy to forego this one. Herald is spawning in 10 seconds. So that should be traded by RNG, and we will just have that swap of objectives. The Infernal Drake, and it looks like it's going to be either an Ocean or a Cloud Soul here. So we'll see what the value of that Drake is a little bit later on in the game. But RNG going with the Herald early. Generally speaking, this feels like it usually wins out the trade, but Aki's here to answer. Creme's moving up as well. And remember, New, he's playing Nocturne. He has a global ultimate. He can always get involved. It looks like RNG don't get to trade after all.
Yeah, and this is the difference that we're talking about in supports. Because you've got a Kaisa there who's a little bit more free roaming and a little bit able to take care of herself better, you can see the Code, he gets the first roam. Once Ming spots the Code has left the lane, then he knows that Gala is safe, so he's then able to follow. But it means that OMG will get the first move. And now, when you've got both supports still hovering in his mid lane, RNG feel like they might have a chance to fight.
Oh, the flash kick comes out from Xiaohu, and it's going to be an easy kill. First blood there for Wei, and now potentially a Herald as well. But Cold and Aki are here. They're moving up towards that top lane. They're going to be able to sweep that wave up. But look where Ming is. He's already on the scene here. It's a numbers advantage for RNG, and you'd expect that would mean the Herald.
I mean, look, you can see Xiaohu still has these Lee Sin mechanics. We saw a little bit of it at MSI, but that was just slick. And I love that we're seeing more Lee Sin. Like, Lee Sin plays are one of my favorite things to watch because of how creative you can be. Now, obviously, flash kick, not the most creative thing in the world, but still very well executed there by Xiaohu. And it nets this Rift Herald, which I will imagine will get used in this bottom side of the map just to try and get a little bit more gold in towards Gala.
It always makes me chuckle as well how, you know, Xiaohu doing the kick flash to be able to set the play up is like just a whatever Lee Sin play. Back in the day, that was like mind-blowing levels of Lee Sin mechanics. Now that's just like the bare minimum you have to be able to do to play Lee Sin on a competitive stage.
If anyone hasn't seen it, go and watch Scarra's reaction to the kick flash. He basically sees it. Some guy like shows it on a minion in lane, and Scarra loses his mind. He's just like, oh my god, what? How do you do this? That's insane. The mechanics. It is funny just to see how far League of Legends has become, just at a base level, that like a professional player at the time was having his mind blown by something that like gold level Lee Sins now kind of need to be able to do.
Yeah, isn't it just absolutely like the mechanical requirement in not even just in competitive, even just in solo queue is mind-blowingly higher than what it used to be. But such is the nature of a sport, right? That evolves over time. It's always the way. It's the same in other sports as well. Same in football, where the requirement of these athletes is just so much higher to be at the top. And we are talking about one of the very best teams, if not the very best team in the world. Xiaohu's certainly proven that he can be a great top laner. And I just want to quickly mention, by the way, on the topic of Xiaohu as a top laner, this is his second split now as a top laner. So far, Xiaohu has played in a total of 2 tournaments as a top laner. He's played in the LPL Spring, and he won it. And he's played at MSI, and he won it. He has a 100% win record in tournaments overall as a top laner.
I mean, it's a pretty decent hit rate, right? But we'll have to see if he can continue it through. I mean, I know a lot of people are kind of hoping that potentially we get like the Golden Road Take 2 for RNG coming back from 2018 that got shut down by G2 in the quarterfinals of Worlds 2018. But definitely Spring now in their back pocket, MSI in their back pocket, and RNG trying to see if they can at least start off their campaign into summer looking good with the win over OMG here.
Yeah, and you should expect it, right? Like, let's talk realistic expectations here. RNG are coming in as a heavy favorite, right? And I don't think anyone's surprised to hear that. For OMG here, I'm curious what they can bring to the table and what they can show us. And I feel like the next few minutes are really going to be proof of that tale, right? They're going to be the opportunities, because when you look at this composition, like you said rightly, Dagda, one item spikes are going to be really, really important for what OMG want to do, and you can start to see some of those items coming through. Creme has finished its Prowler's Claw. You can expect a few other mythics coming up soon, and it feels like those Drakes and maybe the second Herald are going to be where this OMG composition really comes online.
Yeah, and for RNG, they can't really contest those Heralds or early Dragons right now. You're trying to get Gala up and running now. Obviously, getting 4 of these plates into Gala's hands are absolutely fantastic, but it's a pickaxe. You know, 2 damages this Jinx right now, or at least enough to try and carry these team fights. So for RNG, they're going to be taking a step back, just trying to see if they can continue getting gold in towards Gala's hands. This dragon that's in 10 seconds will definitely be going the way of OMG. You can even see Galio will probably be looking for a reset here. And then RNG can later on look for more.
That was the most relatable thing I've ever seen from Gala right there, where he's there, he's wailing on the final tower. He's about to get first tower gold solo. And Wei just starts walking up to the tower. And in my head, as my AD carry brain was just like, Wei, what are you doing? Don't come and steal the gold from the last plate. You already got your gold from the Herald. Back off, buddy. Drake now going to be started 2,000. Zaki is here with Smite available. So is Wei, though. And RNG looks like they're just going to win this one out off the back of a TP. Xiaohu arrives, and OMG are just like, you know what? You guys can have this one. We don't have TP. News up in the top lane. We'll just trade it for a couple of players.
All right, nice call coming through from RNG. I did not expect them to try and commit to that, but look, they managed to bully them off thanks to TP from Xiaohu. Now, Xiaohu will lose this wave in top lane as a result. Actually, Cryin going to come up here to make sure he can secure it, but that's going to slow down the pace for OMG. And when we're talking about, hey, look, late game scaling, trying to buy time for RNG, the fact that they don't have to worry about at least the 3rd dragon for another 5 minutes added on, that's pretty hype for them.
Yeah, certainly very positive. As that would have been the moment. You just saw the replay in the bottom right of your screen there. If that solar flare lands on Cryin, maybe that's the pick that starts the snowball rolling for OMG. But as it stands, they're just losing in plates. Look at the gold difference right now. There's only 1 kill on the board, but RNG are 3,000 gold up. And when you think about what happened at MSI, so much of that tournament for RNG was not just about team fighting. It wasn't just about mechanics. It was about playing the map better. And when you look at where the gold is, there's 640 gold from plates going into Gala's pocket. Individually, he's on 6,000. He's about 500 gold up, or 600 gold up over Abel. That's pretty much exclusively from those plates. But he's finished his Kraken Slayer. You can see items coming through for the rest of RNG. And sure, they're not going to spike super hard right now, but the fact that they're ahead in items as we're heading into the mid-game, the part where we need to see OMG snowball things, it's already not a great side for OMG, as Nu is getting dived onto the tower, and he doesn't even get to move. The kick is beautiful, the Q to follow it up. And RNG just wrecking Nu's day.
Yeah, Nu is not having a good time. I mean, you're talking about gold advantages. There was already a big CS lead there for Xiaohu in the top lane. Now you're adding in another kill, and Wei and Xiaohu just working in tandem here to create space for Xiaohu. They know that Gala and Ming are safe because they've moved in towards this mid lane. They're just going to wave clear and try and stall out the pace of this game. And as well, Cryin is always there with that ultimate to make sure there's no funny business. Now, they will potentially give up Rift Herald here. It looks like they're just going to cede that, but still, you're getting a tower on that bottom side of the map. You're getting more control of the map, and that's what RNG are really interested in.
And I think importantly, like, especially post-plates, all Rift Herald represents is half of a tower damage, and potentially more if you play with it, right? If Xiaohu is trading a tier 2 on the bottom side of the map, this is almost certainly a negative trade for OMG because they haven't got any towers yet. At best, this is going to get them a tier 1. Unless it's off the back of a team fight, maybe it could get a tier 2 as well. But it feels like RNG are ahead enough already in terms of towers that they've got this Jinx. They're going to be able to trade on opposite side wherever that Herald goes. You've got Xiaohu pressuring at the bottom side, almost finishing a tier 2. Feels like OMG are going to struggle to find a good opportunity to use this Herald.
Yeah, and second Herald usually tends to work a lot better when you've had the first, because chances are you've hit it, you got a couple of plates, and maybe you needed to finish off like a low health mid lane turret or something along these lines. But right now, a lot of the RNG towers are actually pretty healthy, so unless you can get a collapse like this coming through from OMG, you're not going to be able to get much. Now, Gala does need to back away, especially with Nu missing, but RNG trying to see if they can respond to this, and looks like OMG are just happy to get the charge.
Looks like not much going to come of the Herald. I thought that they were going to hold on to it. I thought we were going to have a moment to converse about where the Herald was going to go, etc., etc. I thought they'd hold on for a couple of minutes, use it for prio for the Drake, right? Since you're spiking pretty hard, we're seeing those mythics we talked about coming through. Just need to wait for Aki to finish that Night Harvester, and suddenly, boom, this is a composition that can fight, right? We've got the ISO queue built up for Abel. Like, everything feels good for OMG in terms of fighting right now. I thought they would slam the Herald mid in about 40 seconds time, use that as prio, take control of river, play for the Drakes. Like, jobs are good at. I don't know if I agree with just slamming it in the mid lane for the banter, not even finishing a tower.
Yeah, it felt like there was a little bit of miscommunication on how they wanted to go for the play. It looked like, okay, cool, Nu is starting to roam out of the bot side. We're actually going to look for a dive here as OMG and try and use the fact that we still have Cryin, who's off in the side lane, Xiaohu isn't in position to follow, and maybe we can just bully our way into this mid tower and take it. But Nu wasn't really in a position to follow up by the time the charge came through. Gala was playing relatively safe, and you could see Wei was tunnel visioning on getting towards that mid lane to help out. So I think OMG just kind of miscommunicating on how they wanted to approach that. But here anyway, RNG now with no Herald for OMG have control of river and are looking to try and contest for this second dragon.
Skull Crab will be a bit of an issue for OMG. It's vision control for RNG that OMG can never quite scrub off of the map. But everybody is here, and a TP come through from Cryin to make sure he doesn't miss out on the action. You've got to keep your eyes on Gala leading into this fight, but also keep your eyes on Creme. Pretty much every game I've been keeping my eyes on Creme, but Qiyana in a dragon fight, you can get a big ult. There it is, immediate supreme display of talent. What a way to burn open the fight for OMG. Now the answer from RNG is Xiaohu goes in, but he's not tanky enough yet, and he goes down for his trouble. Nu will fall. Abel still going strong. Creme back into the fray once more. He's onto the backline. He's onto Gala, who's still going strong. The taunt onto everyone. Gala's opportunity to pop off here, but he gets taken down by Abel, and it's 5-5 on the scoreline.
There's just not enough damage there for Gala. This is why I'm surprised to see any sort of contest coming through from RNG. OMG are in a much better position right now. We talked about this, how hard they spike off of these initial items. Well, you just see it there. Incredible engage from Creme. They get the team fight win, and now they get the dragon for themselves as well.
And Abel getting himself a quadra kill off the back of this one. I want to check out his positioning because I was so busy looking at Creme. Felt like I missed most of the Kaisa action.
Yeah, well, look, you can see there Creme getting really good use of the Prowler's Claw. I guess the supreme display of talent. And at this stage, like, health bars are pretty low, but Abel's just free firing this whole time. Gala does get excited, but Creme again pressuring Gala, making sure that there's very little that he can do. And just from a straight up damage perspective right now, like, OMG are just stronger. And especially when you lose Wei straight off the bat, there's a kind of part of your tank line. Xiaohu tries to do an awful lot in that fight, but there's only so much you can do at this moment in time. You just can't answer for how much damage can be output by OMG.
Yeah, and the one minor issue there is that Gala also picked up a couple of kills across the course of that skirmish. He's 2-1-1 now. Still has that CS advantage. Can't forget about the plate gold that he got earlier on. And it does mean that he is on 2.5 items. And when we get to 3 items, Jinx is going to level up in a big way. So we do have to be watching out for that in the next fight. And I feel like a lot of the pressure is going to be on Nu and Creme to try and stop Gala being able to have that moment. But it feels like Xiaohu bought a lot of time for RNG in that fight and gave Gala a lot of space. If he can replicate that in future fights, it's possible. But again, Creme, what a way to start that fight off. I like this composition from OMG. This is an exciting composition to watch.
Yeah, and I like, it feels like this is going to be what we get more of from OMG, because we talked about Creme's champion pool already, like the Silases, the Akalis. I mean, he's already played Qiyana a lot in LDL as well, so I like that we're getting to see Creme bringing his own style to this, to the LPL, especially with the meta being so open right now for picks. So I think we'll get to see a lot more of this from OMG, and when Creme is already styled all over Rookie, I mean, we're kind of seeing it come up here against RNG as well. This guy is trying to put his name forward as one of the up-and-coming mid-lane talents.
And it does feel a little bit like when you think about Cryin, you think of things like the Victor, right? Things like the Azir, Corki, these control mages. That's generally been what Cryin has leaned towards. This Galio pick, or Renekton. I mean, it's not just control mages, but that's what I think of when I think of Cryin, right? Feels like this this Galio pick after the Akali ban in the draft as well is kind of RNG going, look, Creme's real good. Creme's playing Assassins. Let's just opt out of that matchup because I'm not sure Cryin can go toe-to-toe. And I have to say, I kind of agree with the sentiment.
Well, I mean, Galio definitely being a bit tanky has made that matchup a little bit easier, but you can see Creme, his mechanics are definitely showing in these fights. Now, the big worry here is more so like, what happens if that turns out to actually be Gala that's caught in that equation? Because last time, it was 2 of the tankiest members on this RNG squad that got cut out. And when we're starting to have a lot of posturing towards Baron and multiple members of RNG trying to get vision in this jungle, that's where Qiyana can be really dangerous. Multiple walls for her to get that supreme display talent, and if Gala's the one trying to move in here, it can be so difficult for him to maneuver and even spot out the multiple flank options from OMG.
I love how Wei just walks up and swag smites the big chicken. He didn't even have 2 stacks of smite. His smite's on proper cooldown right now with Baron on the cards, but he's just like, you know what? Baron's probably not happening. I'm going to go full clear. I just want your big chicken first. Let's look at this side pressure that Xiaohu's putting on as well. 40 CS lead right now for Xiaohu. He's already got the 2 items. He's got his boots. He's going to recall and then potentially head up towards the top side of the map. But he does have his TP, so could just try and put split pressure on the bottom side as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this stage, your best option here as RNG is to at least keep Cryin trying to match this Nocturne, because you're going to have the ultimate, obviously, to try and follow through. You've got that TP available as well. And then try and again use Xiaohu, the fact you've got that extra teleport available as well, because Creme has opted for the Ignite. So at least when you look at that side lane control, and RNG can have a lot more to work with, and that's kind of been the strength of RNG, right? It's always been their side lane control, their wave management, and then getting these advantageous spots to look for objectives. Now, not really in a position, I feel like, to try and do so here when OMG have full control of the spot side river. And as well, the waves are slightly pushed in for RNG, but not enough to try and dissuade OMG from this dragon in 30 seconds.
OMG moving into the mid lane to fight for priority here. And they can transition that priority down into the bottom river, clear away some of these control wards, but Creme is moving in. He knows RNG don't have vision of him just yet, but the question is how much space can he buy, because he's going to step over the Scuttle Crab. I don't think that actually saw him, though. He's waiting for a chance. The Scry's Bloom doesn't see. There we go, just walked over the Scuttle Crab. We saw the little eyes above his head, so he was spotted. Now OMG going to start this Drake off. Remember, this is a Cloud Drake. It's ult CDR right here, not really a win condition Drake, but certainly when you're an ult-reliant team can be exceptionally valuable, and they're just going to go straight on in here. Nocturne dives onto everyone. Equalizer is there. Supreme Display talent ain't the best, but it's still going to be enough to win out a fight here. And Abel has been untouched this entire time. He's just wailing on everybody. It's an easy fight for OMG. RNG feels like they didn't even turn up.
Creme and Nu destroyed Gala in that fight. That was absolutely insane. Hop in with Nu, straight over the wall from Creme, pre-display this man and whacks Gala against the wall, and that's it. OMG, they get the teamfight win. They don't care about the dragon. They are going to go for the Baron. And sure, Xiaohu, you can solo this, but that's a massive victory for OMG.
Oh, can he though? Can he? Because Nu is coming on over. Has Xiaohu got the damage to finish this one off? A Q from Nu might just steal the thing. Oh, Xiaohu just gets it in time. The fear will come through. And I think Nu's realized that the rest of Xiaohu's team is going to be on the way. Cryin has TP and he's just respawning. So disengage comes on out. Let's take another look.
Watch Creme here. Wait. Look how long he waits to come over that wall. And again, flash over, Crowder's Claw to position himself behind Gala, slams him against the wall, and it doesn't matter how much peel you have here as RNG. You cannot deal with all the different flank scenarios coming through from OMG, and you know, no vision control there for Gala, no way to try to avoid that pressure, and he ends up going down. And this was one of the things that we talked about. You have to try and manage as RNG. And although Xiaohu in these fights has been trying to like spot out Creme going for any of these flanks behind the back of Dragon Pit, there's just too many angles. And honestly, I think at this stage, RNG have given a little bit too much over towards OMG, where now they have the opportunity to split push with Nu with this Baron. They have a great position as well towards the likes of this Dragon and as well over these rivers. So it's going to become hard for RNG to try and stop Creme from coming into positions like this and finding these great opportunities to pick people off.
Okay, Creme doesn't have the root, so Xiaohu's fine on this one. I thought he was face-checked into his own doom there. Will be the bot tier 1 taken by OMG. Still 4-2 in favor of RNG when it comes to those towers, but the gold lead is in favor of OMG now. They're playing towards this bottom side, but no neutral's going to be coming up for a long old while. Still a minute and 20 seconds on this Baron. It's now grouping up in the mid lane. I don't know if they can really commit to a siege. They seem nervous, Dagda. They don't seem confident in grouping up and forcing this.
I mean, look, realistically, they're super short range. Yes, they got the Baron creeps there. That's great, but they're not really going to be able to threaten RNG under a tower, especially with Gala being able to provide so much wave clear. So really, what they need to do is back off here, try and use this Baron to get down side turrets, and then get control of RNG's jungle. Again, like the multiple flank routes, the walls that Creme will have available, that's where RNG are going to feel really threatened. And if you can get this top lane turret down and control topside vision, when Baron spawns up next, there's no way RNG can try and move through their own jungle to get to Baron. They're just so vulnerable to the supreme display of talent. So if you can get that as OMG, it becomes a lot more difficult for RNG to actually have any sort of pressure on the map and fight you off these objectives.
Now towards the top side though, maybe they can make a dive happen, because that's something this comp certainly can do. Cold, bit of a whiff on the ult, I'm not gonna lie. Basically a stationary target, but it's gonna buy space. Cold, he's just walking in. He's just like, all right, I'm just gonna threaten everyone. You can either stay and fight me or you can die, and it looks like they're going to die on this one. Cold survives off on the backside. Xiaohu will be the first one to go down into his GA here. Rocket's coming in though, and Gala's got some serious damage to talk about. Now the counter engage from RNG. It's going to be one picked up already. Get excited coming on through. The zaps can follow as well to find some slows onto the team of OMG. Nu with a spell shield to keep himself safe here. Disengage from OMG into the Cloud Rift, so they got some move speed. But wait, he's real damn quick on this Udyr, and Xiaohu's back into the fray once more, but Abel trying to turn things around once again. Damage onto Wei, they can't finish anyone off. And it was a long drawn out fight with barely any kills, but RNG come out on top.
Yeah, a big mistake coming through from Cold there. OMG just needs to play it slow, and even as he went for that earlier solar flare, I was like, what's the end goal here? OMG aren't in a position to follow up on this, and you could see it. Cold goes in for this follow-up engage again. OMG can't follow up and really get onto those key members we talked about. Gala is safe in the base, and they're able to turn this around. So watch here, right? Cold, way too far forward. You get the paranoia come through from Nocturne, but I mean, who's really threatened here apart from the front line? And if you're going to invest all this damage coming through from the burst that's on this OMG lineup onto the tanks, Gala's then free to do what he pleases with little to no CC to really worry about.
They did get away with it though, because as the rest of this replay plays out, nobody else dies. It was another TP committed from Cryin there. It does feel like OMG, they got the tower. They sort of, sure they didn't get a kill, but they only lost one player as well. There was no objectives up. they definitely got away with murder on that one, because I feel like that was a much bigger misplay than what came of it.
It's the follow-up though, because remember we wanted OMG to have control over Baron? That's in a minute's time. They don't have any of the vision control we talked about in this topside jungle. So for RNG now, they're free to get this deep vision control, make sure that OMG are actually the ones walking into them. And in that case, it's a lot easier for Gala to position around where Creme's going to be located, maybe where New is, I mean, even Abel. Like, it becomes a lot easier for RNG to deal with. Now, OMG though, they spotted that this dragon is up, so it looks like Aki's just going to be able to start this up. And I think RNG are more focused on keeping control for the Baron than worrying about this third dragon going across.
Yeah, kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, right? It's Cloud Soul, not the most impactful. That'll only be Soul Point anyway, so it's not even the Cloud Soul just yet. Does feel like RNG are going to be fairly willing to just allow that one. But Dagda, we're almost 31 minutes into this game. Look at this gold score right now. It is almost dead even between the two teams. And we said RNG triumphantly returning from MSI. They're going to be up against OMG. And yeah, it's a historical matchup. But how much do we really expect here? OMG have showed up, actually. This is a way closer game than I think a lot of viewers would have been expecting. And I'm consistently pleasantly surprised by this new OMG roster.
And I'm so glad that we are getting, like, Abel popping off, Creme as well looking great, because I know for a lot of old school fans, OMG was a massive name in the LPL. They were the guys that were kind of hit hardest by the old school talent kind of leaving in 2014, like the likes of Cool and Going and those guys who were on OMG. So the fact we're starting to see, you know, more coming through from this roster, especially some of the up and coming talent like Creme, I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air for this OMG side. Now, the big thing for them in this game though is actually finding a way to continue the strength forward. Now, they're still in a reasonably good spot where you can see that, like, if they're positioned correctly, they can burst out Gala, but Gala's now got that GA. He's working towards his final item. You're very quickly running out of time here as OMG.
Xiaohu is just going to pretty much ignore New. In fact, uses New to get passive procs so he can kill the tower faster. You cannot say that Xiaohu ain't a stylish player. The man knows how to make things happen. It's going to be the tower taken in favor of RNG on the bottom side of the map. Baron is up as well. RNG can use this pressure on the bottom side to potentially threaten that, although both New and Xiaohu have their teleports available. Looks like grouping towards the mid lane. And Dagda, I want to revisit. We talked about item spikes earlier on. We are well beyond that 3-item spike for Gala now. He's on 4.5 items plus boots. Does feel like OMG are maybe past their prime when it comes to this composition. And now the onus is on them to make the magic happen. Cold, stunned up. Flame Chompers come in. New on the back line here as the rest of OMG can follow up. Unfortunately, the Galio ult isn't that great from Cryin. There's going to be the ult onto Ming. And OMG starting this fight off very nicely. We've got someone on the backline down into a GA, but we've still got AD carries just flying in. Abel onto the backline. Gala goes down, and Abel doing things magically on this Kaisa. Xiaohu in a 2v1. It's a triple kill for Abel here. Aki being chased away. Triple kill comes through for Xiaohu as well, but Abel's going to chase him down.
How many GAs are there?
He goes. Xiaohu gets back onto his feet. It'll fall to Abel in the end. That's like their 19th GA of this fight.
Jesus, everyone had a GA there, but Abel coming out clutch, making the big play happen, picks off Gala, and now OMG, with a single member left, might actually be able to crack the base here for RNG. What a fight from Abel.
Beautiful stuff once again. Look at his scoreline, 10, 0, and 4 right now. And we were just saying how maybe this comp has expired.
Yeah, but watch Creme. Creme here setting up perfectly again, over the wall, out of vision, gets on towards Gala and is able to burst him down. Now, he does give his life for it, but then it's round 2 as Abel realizes as soon as Gala comes up, I need to be the one to finish him. I'm the only one who's got access here, and once Gala goes down, so does all the damage that's left on RNG. So OMG barely able to scrape that one out with Abel being able to finish off Xiaohu, but you can see how long Gala survived meant he could churn out so much damage and made this fight so incredibly close.
Really beautiful stuff out from OMG. Great coordination as well on Creme going in to take the GA out and then Abel ulting after the fact to finish Gala off. And importantly, Dagda, as you mentioned, many GAs in that fight, right? But the crucial thing about that is now they are all on cooldown. So you can't necessarily buy the same amount of space as we saw in that last fight. Creme will be in danger if he goes too deep. Does have a stopwatch. He's just purchased that one. So keep your eyes on that. Abel is full build at 35 minutes into the game. He has a lot of gold to work with, but look at this.
Sold the
RNG
GA
just
to buy a
this.
QSS. It's insane. He's so rich, but here we go.
Baron's going to be taken here by RNG. OMG looking for the fight. Equalizer across the team as everyone onto the backline. Abel is there just burning through health bars. Supreme display of talent just blows RNG apart as New will chase down the final kill, but way does not matter in this equation. OMG can take the Drake if they want, or they could go take the base.
And OMG have been playing these fights so well, they punish the ring around the rosy going on here. But also, just the Baron slot coming through from RNG. They tried to steal it away before OMG rotate, but it doesn't matter. OMG now, off the back of some superbly executed fights, will pick up the victory.
Beautiful game here from OMG. They continue to surprise here in the LPL. And on RNG's triumphant return from MSI, they lose their first game.
And I think unstoppable is definitely the right sign to show there. Abel popping the hell off in this game. He looks so good. Like, his decision making on when to go in towards the back line was incredible, and especially when you've kind of got that 1-2 punch that we're seeing coming through from Creme and from Abel, where Creme going in aggressively first, trying to see if he can burn that GA, Abel following up, and then in that last fight, both of them realizing there's nothing left on Gala, and they just go in for the 1-2 Uniflu to just knock out Gala.
1-2 Uniflu, what on earth does that mean? I've never heard that phrase before in my life.
Have you never seen the old Uniflu ad? The 1-2, the old boxing ad?
I don't even know what Uniflu is. Not a sponsor, by the way.
No.
Yeah, I have to say, though, well, we're talking about the AD carries at the start of the day, right? Abel versus Gala. Abel used to be on RNG. He wished he was the main AD carry for RNG. That felt personal. Every single fight we saw Abel just ulting to wherever Gala was to take him out. And he had, I think, still a flawless KDA by the end of the game. Yeah. Unbelievable performance. And on the Kaisa, which has been Gala's like go-to champion as well. This all felt just a little bit personal from Abel.
Yeah, a bit of salt in the wound, but honestly, I'm really impressed with Abel. Like, when I saw his initial series against Ore, it felt like he was trying way too hard to impress. Like, his positioning was hyper aggressive, trying to see if he could over carry fights, and it actually ended up biting him back. This time around, though, his positioning was super smart. His decision making when it came to team fights was really good. And it feels like he's kind of settled into the role that he has at OMG. Rather than feeling like he has to hard carry, he's now like, cool, I can actually work with everyone. I think the team fight setup was really smart. I think Creme, again, played phenomenally on these assassins. And I'm super excited to see if OMG potentially could take game 2 here.
It's very possible. And like, when we look at the difference between these two teams, I don't think either of them had like a strictly better composition. It was more just like two very different styles of composition, right?
Yes.
Where one team was going for heavy dive, one team was going for kite back, peel, let Gala carry. But quite frankly, OMG were just good enough at diving Gala that the RNG composition couldn't function. They couldn't keep Gala alive. They couldn't get him to carry. And just look at the damage difference between the AD carries off the back of that. Almost 10,000 in favor of Abel. And that's off the back of, in the early game, if you think back, Gala had a 1,000 gold lead almost off of the back of plates, off of the back of the early skirmishes. And then in those mid-game fights, it was all about Abel. It was all about Creme setting it up with New diving onto backline, Aki dropping the equalizer on top. Beautiful team play from OMG.
Yeah, I think the big issue was the third dragon fight that we saw coming through from RNG, where they tried to contest. Creme had that great flash over the wall into the Predator's Claw and picks off Gala. That gave so much gold towards OMG. And you could see, like, that second last fight before Baron, where we had all those GAs popped, that was an incredibly close fight. If you don't have, the 2,000 to 3,000 gold that had kind of gone across to OMG at that stage, that could have been the RNG fight. That could have been Gala surviving that bit long and RNG being able to right the ship. But it's these small mistakes that kind of bit RNG. And now OMG are one up in the series, and you're kind of questioning, you know, RNG, what are you going to come back with here?
That'll be the question. Apparently, though, RNG are doing really well in scrims. That's the rumor that's being passed around. So hopefully they'll be able to come back strong in game number 2 here. And importantly, their early game was pretty immaculate. Like the way they were taking towers, the way they were giving so much of that gold over to Gala. It did feel like that was working out. I'm not super convinced by the Galio in the mid lane. Didn't feel like it was able to have a massive impact on the game. It didn't feel like this is necessarily the strongest composition right now. So we'll have to wait and see. We're going to jump into a break, and we'll see if RNG can get back on the horse and take down OMG, or whether OMG are going to be able to close things out against the LPL champions.